Good day everyone, welcome to a new video. Obviously, well better place to start the video about the Warsaw Uprising if not at the Warsaw Uprising monument. '68 Centrowa Street. In an eye-catching salmon-colored facade and beautiful sculptured statuettes lies a somber story. In one of the apartments inside this building on the 31st of July 1944, Colonel Antoni Monter relayed the following message: that the Soviet troops reached the capital's Praga district and the uprising should start immediately. As he said himself, it's now or never. Without knowing or verifying this information, the uprising began the following day at 5 p.m. Zolibor. Just launching the uprising was a highly complex operation which required a lot of people to navigate the city to report to their units. It was inevitable that things would turn out wrong. Just outside the boiler house on the 1st of August 1944, an insurgent heading to a gathering point drawn suspicion on a German patrol by wearing winter long coats in the middle of the summer, which made the patrol approach the vehicle, and that's when the insurgents opened fire at roughly 1:40, 1:50 p.m. and these are believed to be the very first shots fired just 3 hours roughly before the beginning of the Warsaw Uprising. Mobile phones were not a thing back then, and stationary phones were most likely or very likely to be intercepted by the Germans, which were in control of the telecommunications in Warsaw. Which is not in use. Himmler gave clear orders mandating that all the city of Warsaw should be destroyed and all inhabitants should be killed. All civilian or non-civilian inhabitants should be executed. These orders led to the worst massacre in the Warsaw history. Within just a few days, between 40 and 60,000 civilians from the Wola district were, and following their death, they've been cremated in mass. Both eastern and the remains of Western Wall served as German strongholds. Past building, built before the World War II as a telecommunication hub. The building was turned into a fortress by the Germans. Reinforced concrete and bristling machine guns, it stood defiant until 20th of August when it was captured by the Polish resistance. Roughly 130 German prisoners of war and huge stashes of ammunition, weapons were seized during that day. On the other hand, on the Polish side, roughly 20 resistance fighters perished during this incursion. If anyone would ask me how would Warsaw look like if the buildings were never refurbished or reconditioned, and I will be telling them that this is how it would look like. Opened in 1911 as the Imperial Russian Bank, the vast building at Bielanska 1012 later on served as the Polish National Bank, and during the Nazi occupation it served as the German issuing bank. I'm fully aware that during the whole video I presented just sad events. There is one instance, for example, that supposedly happened in this bank where a German bank worker picked up the phone with a request of money transfer from Krakow, at which he responded with, "Are you nuts? Aren't you aware that we're under siege?" Which to me is hilarious. Roughly on the 3rd or 4th of August, the building was taken over by the Polish resistance, and it was a heavily contested battleground. It became a vital fortification in the defense of the old town. Unfortunately, followed by repeated German pounding, the building was abandoned on the September 1st. The insurgents from inside the bank fled through the sewers. While the formal surrendering happened on the 2nd of October at Manor House at Żarów Mazowiecki, Warsaw's Polytechnic building stands as the most potent symbol of insurgents. And October 5th, it was here in front of the Warsaw's Polytechnic University that the insurgents surrendered their weapons and formally surrendered to the Germans, which were happily taking pictures and recording every step for propaganda purposes. But also here it was where the crowds, civilian crowds, gathered to see the Home Army march into captivity. Following the Wola massacre, this church behind me has one of the highest casualties during the Warsaw Uprising, during a bombardment on the 31st of August, since it was acting as field hospital in the basements underneath the ground behind me, under tunnels and basements. There were soldiers, resistance fighters and civilians hiding from bombardment. So on the 31st of August, big bombardment took place, and the building and the basements were destroyed in its entirety, and over 1,000 civilians and soldiers, including nuns and priests from the church were killed in this church. Centro vecchio. No, sei, poi, sai, proiettato.